Hare Krishna. Somebody can please lead the invocation prayers.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Om
Shali,
Ajnana
Shali.
Timirandasya Jnananjana Salkya Sakshur Anvidatam Yana Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manamistam Sthapitam Yana Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Tadadi Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruve Shri Uttapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagarajitam Sagagana Raghunatha Tam Jivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parnyan Sadidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sagagana Lalita Sri Vishagam Vidamcha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpade Gopisa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gurua Gaurangi Radha Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sudadevi Pranamya Hariva Priye Vanchakalpa Tarupsya Kripa Sindhu Bhya Ivacha Patitana Pavane Bhayo Vaishnava Bhayo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaurav Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming to read and discuss Srila Prabhupada and Krishna's instructions, and to take responsibility to apply these instructions in your respective lives. So today we will cover Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 31. We'll aim to finish this Chapter 31. We'll aim to finish this unit number 20, and we'll aim to finish Canto 4 today. The context is that Prachetas learn how to satisfy Supreme Lord by chanting the Rudra Gita. The result of chanting the Rudra Gita is that Prachetas attain Vishnu Darshan. Lord is pleased with the unity of Prachetas, and Prabhupada explains, unity of souls in Krishna consciousness is real unity. Lord also asked Prachetas to marry Marisa and enjoy material world. So question becomes, why would Lord ask Prachetas to enjoy earthly pleasures, which we know are hell? The answer is that devotees are not entangled in the material world because the devotee does not consider himself as the proprietor of any occupation. The devotee always thinks of Supreme Lord as the proprietor. Therefore, the results of his business are offered to the Supreme Lord. Prachetas then offer prayers to the Lord. Prachetas ask the best benediction a devotee can ask. The best benediction is to hear the Lord's pastime in devotee association. Not just one pastime, but all pastimes. Whenever pure topics of the transcendental world are discussed, the members of the audience forget all kinds of material hankerings, at least for the time being, and they are no longer envious of one another, nor do they suffer from anxiety or fear. In Srimad Bhagavatam 4.30.18, 4.30.18, Lord stated to Prachetas that Prachetas would become disgusted with their kingdom. Hence, the Prachetas would leave the kingdom and attain the Lord. That prediction comes true in this chapter 31, that the Prachetas detached from their kingdom. They go to forest and practice bhakti as described by Narad Muni. This way, Prachetas attain Krishna. Shalini, if you want to read 4.30.18 translation to set the context.
Hare Krishna, just give me 1 moment. Just getting that verse. 18. Hare Krishna, text 13, text 18. Translation. Thereafter you will develop unadulterated devotional service unto me and be freed from all material contamination. At that time, being completely unattached to material enjoyment in the so-called heavenly planets as well as in hellish planets, you will return home back to Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Right, so this leads to chapter 31. So Canto 4, chapter 31 is titled Narada instructs the Prachetas, is divided into 5 parts. Part 1, verses 1 to 8. Prachetas renounce the kingdom and meet Narada. Part 2, verses 9 to 14. Devotional service is the goal of all spiritual practices. Part 3, verses 15 to 17. Supreme Lord is worthy of all worship. Part 4, verses 18 to 22. Satisfy the all-powerful Lord by bhakti. Part 5 is verses 23 to 31, conclusion. So part 1 is straightforward. Verse 1 describes the time-wise progression of ashrams. That what is a life based on Vedic principles. So all of you, please read everything at a faster pace today so that we can complete this chapter 31 and Canto 4. Shalini will read faster pace. Canto 4, chapter 31, verse 1, translation and purpose.
Hare Krishna, text 1 translation. The great sage Maitreya continued. After that, the Prachetas lived at home for thousands of years and developed perfect knowledge in spiritual consciousness. At last, they remembered the blessings of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and left home, putting their wife in charge of that perfect son. Purport. After the Prachetas had finished their penances, they were blessed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord blessed them by telling them that after finishing their family life, they would return home, back to Godhead, in due course of time. After finishing their family life, which lasted thousands of years, according to the calculations of the demigods, the Prachetas decided to leave home, putting their wife in charge of a son named Daksha. This is the process of Vedic civilization. In the beginning of life, as a brahmachari, one has to undergo severe penances and austerities in order to be educated in spiritual values. The brahmachari or student is never allowed to mingle with women and learn from the beginning of life about sex enjoyment. The basic flaw in modern civilization is that boys and girls are given freedom during school and college to enjoy sex life. Most of the children are Varna Sankara mean born of undesirable fathers and mothers. Consequently, the whole world is in a chaos. Actually, human civilization should be based on Vedic principles. This means that in the beginning of life, boys and girls should undergo penances and austerities. When they are grown, they should get married, live for some time at home, and beget children. When the children are grown up, the man should leave home and search for Krishna consciousness. In this way, one can make one's life perfect by going home to the kingdom of God. Unless one practices penances and austerities in his student life, he cannot understand the existence of God. Without realizing Krishna, one cannot make his life perfect. The conclusion is that when the children are grown, the wife should be put in the children's charge. The husband may then leave home to develop Krishna consciousness. Everything depends on the development of mature knowledge. King Prachina Barisat, the father of the Prachetas, left home before the arrival of his sons, who were engaged in austerity within the water. As soon as the time is ripe, or as soon as one has developed perfect Krishna consciousness, he should leave home, even though all his duties may not be fulfilled. Prachina Barisat was waiting for the arrival of his son, but following the instructions of Narada, as soon as his intelligence was properly developed, he simply left instructions for the ministers to impart to his sons. Thus, without waiting for the arrival, he left home. Giving up a comfortable home life is absolutely necessary for human beings, as advised by Prahlad Maharaj. Hitvatma patam graham anda kupam. To finish the materialistic way of life, one should leave his so-called comfortable home life, which is simply a means for killing the soul, Atma Patam. The home is considered to be a dark well covered by grass, and if one falls within this well, he simply dies without anyone's caring. One should therefore not be too much attached to family life, for it will spoil one's development of Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
So, time-wise progression is provided in the Vedic way of life, that in the beginning of life is a brahmachari life. One should undergo penances, austerities, study spiritual scriptures. Then when he grows up, gets married, and because he has studied scriptures and the Vedic way of life, even after he gets married, he's not entangled. I've given the example of our dear Dwarkanath Prabhu from Toronto Temple multiple times. There are others also. He is a live example that he used to be brahmachari, living in the temple, then got married. But you can see he's not entangled. Continues to do devotional services much more than many others. And when the children are grown up, then leave home for Krishna consciousness. You don't have to leave home. It's just that you should spend more time on Krishna consciousness. The home is considered to be a dark well covered with grass, and if one falls within family life home, he simply dies without being cared by anyone. Therefore, one should not be too much attached to family life, because that will spoil one's development of Krishna consciousness. Now, many of us may have joined Krishna consciousness at different stages of life. So don't worry about the past. You can just start spending more time on Krishna consciousness from now onwards. Questions, comments, realizations?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, this last statement when Srila Prabhupada says that don't be too much attached to family life, like are there specifics for this statement?
Specifics as in?
Like during the Vanaprastha stage, it is understood like some directions are given, and before that, like how should this statement be taken?
Yeah, very good. So, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 14 is the perfect example Canto 7, Chapter 14 is titled Ideal Family Life. So Narad Muni is speaking that chapter to Yudhishthir Maharaj, that treat your family members not as objects of sense enjoyment, rather treat your family members as devotees. Serve your family members as devotees, and together with your devotee family members, also serve Krishna. So all these devotional activities of treating family members as devotees and then serving Krishna, these will help in developing higher taste as well as dropping the material taste. So that's the way to live a grahastha life. That don't be attached. Yes, you are married. Doesn't mean you don't care for family. It's just that you are not attached at the bodily level. You are treating family members as devotees. Abhishek, bro.
Thank you.
Very good. Everybody on the same page?
Yes, Prabhu.
All right. So Srila Narad Muni arrives in the forest to meet the Prachetas. Prachetas say to Srila Narad Muni that because of family attachment, we almost forgot the instruction of Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu. Therefore, please enlighten us. So verses 3 to 8 are straightforward verses. We'll first read the translations and then go into purports one at a time. Sridhar Prabhu or Kalyani or Aditi, chapter 31, verses 3 to 8 translations.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu, sorry to interrupt. Prabhu, we didn't do text 2.
Yeah, read 2 to 8. Thank you.
Okay. Text 2. The Prachitas went to the seashore in the west where the great liberated sage Jajali was residing. After perfecting the spiritual knowledge by which one becomes equal toward all living entities, the Prachitas became perfect in Krishna consciousness. Text 3 translation. After practicing the Yogasana for mystic yoga, Prachitas managed to control their life, air, mind, words, and external vision. Thus, by the pranayama process, they were completely relieved of material attachment. By remaining perpendicular, they could concentrate their minds on the uppermost Brahman. While they were practicing this pranayama, the great sage Narada, who is worshipped both by demons and by demigods, came to see them. Text 4 translation. As soon as the Prachetas saw that the great sage Narada had appeared, they immediately got up even from their asanas. As required, they immediately offered obeisances and worshipped him, and when they saw that Narada Muni was properly seated, they began to ask him questions. Text 5 translation. All the Prachitas began to address the great sage Narada. O great sage, O Brahmana, we hope you met with no disturbances while coming here. It is due to our great fortune that we are now able to see you. By the traveling of the sun, people are relieved from the fear of the darkness of night, a fear brought about by thieves and rogues. Similarly, your traveling is like the sun's, where you drive away all kinds of fear. Text 6 translation. O Master, may we inform you that because of our being overly attached to family affairs, we almost forgot the instructions we received from Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu. Text 7 translation. Dear Master, kindly enlighten us in transcendental knowledge which may act as a torchlight by which we may cross the darkness signs of material existence. Text 8 translation. The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, Being thus petitioned by the Prachetas, the supreme devotee Narada, who is always absorbed in thoughts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, began to reply. Hare Krishna.
So, all straightforward verses that Prachetas went to the forest, met Narad Muni, and now Narad Muni will start giving them instructions. But first, we'll go to verse number 7 purport, which describes the proper and improper way to approach a saintly person. Sridhar Prabhu, faster pace, verse 7 purport.
Hare Krishna. The Prachetas requested Narada to enlighten them in transcendental knowledge. Generally, when a common man meets a saintly person, he wishes to get some material benediction. However, the Prachetas were not interested in material benefit, but they had enjoyed all this sufficiently. Nor did they want the fulfillment of their material desires. They were simply interested in crossing the ocean of desires. Everyone should be interested in getting out of these material clutches. Everyone should approach a saintly person in order to be enlightened in this connection. One should not bother a saintly person to get blessings for material enjoyment. Generally, householders receive saintly persons to get their blessings, but their real aim is to become happy in the material world. Asking such material benedictions is not recommended in the Shastras. Hare Krishna.
So, all lines of the purport are straightforward, that the proper way to meet a saintly person is to inquire about spiritual topics, how to get out of material clutches. And the improper way is to ask for some material benediction or for some material enjoyment. So asking for material benedictions is not recommended by scriptures. Rather, ask for spiritual benedictions from a saintly person. And then in verse number 8, purport explains why Sri Narad Muni is addressed as Bhagwan. Chandran Prabhu, verse 8, purport, faster please.
Hare Krishna. Text 8 purport. In this verse, Bhagavan Narada indicates that Narada is always absorbed in thoughts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhagavati Uttama Sloka Avistatma Narada. Narada has no other business than thinking of Krishna, talking of Krishna and preaching about Krishna. Therefore, he is sometimes called Bhagavan. Bhagavan means one who possesses all opulences. When a person possesses Bhagavan with his heart, he is also sometimes called Bhagavan. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura said, Saksat Daritvena Samasta Sastrahi. In every Shastra, the spiritual master is accepted directly as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This does not mean that the spiritual master or a saintly person like Narada has actually become the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But he is accepted in this way because he possesses the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart constantly. As described here, Avistatma. When one is simply absorbed in the thought of Krishna, one is also called Bhagavan. Bhagavan possesses all opulence. If one possesses Bhagavan within his heart always, does he not automatically possess all opulences also? In that sense, a great devotee like Narada can be called Bhagavan. However, we cannot tolerate when a rascal or impostor is called Bhagavan. One must possess either all opulences or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, who possesses all opulences. Correct.
So Bhagavan, it means that Sri Narad Muni is always absorbed in thoughts of Supreme Lord. Bhagavan means one who possesses all opulence, means the Supreme Lord himself. And when a devotee possesses Bhagavan within his heart, means he is absorbed always in thoughts of Bhagavan, then the devotee is also addressed as Bhagavan. And therefore in the Mangalarti prayer, we sing Sakshat Dharitvena Samsta Shastre, that In all scriptures, spiritual master is accepted as the Supreme Lord. But this does not mean that the spiritual master or pure devotee becomes Bhagwan. No, it's just that the pure devotee, the spiritual masters are carrying Bhagwan in their heart constantly. Questions, comments, realizations? So now part 2 is verses 9 to 14. Devotional service is the goal of all spiritual practices. So Srila Narad Muni emphasizes devotional service is the goal, and also describes that without bhakti, various endeavors are useless. Gopal, 9 to 12 translations.
Hare Krishna, text 9. The great sage Narada said, when a living entity is born to engage in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Supreme Controller, his birth, all his fruitive activities, his lifespan, his mind, and his words are factually perfect. Text 10. A civilized human being has three kinds of births. The first birth is by a pure father and mother, and this birth is called the birth by semen. The next birth takes place when one is initiated by the spiritual master, and this birth is called Savitra. The third birth is called Yagnika. Takes place when one is given the opportunity to worship the Lord Vishnu. Despite the opportunities for attending such births, even if one gets the lifespan of a demigod, if one does not actually engage in the service of the Lord, everything is useless. Similarly, one's activities may be mundane or spiritual, but they are useless if they are not meant for satisfying the Lord. Text 11. Without devotional service, what is the meaning of severe austerities? The process of hearing, the power of speech, the power of mental speculation, elevated intelligence, strength, and the power of the senses. Text 12. Transcendental practices that do not ultimately help one realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead are useless. Be they mystic yoga practices, the analytical study of matter, severe austerity, the acceptance of sannyasa, or the study of Vedic literature. All these may be very important aspects of spiritual advancement, but unless one understands the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, all these processes are useless. Hare Krishna.
So perfection is by engaging in Lord's service. And without bhakti, the three births are useless. First is birth by biological parents. Second is the initiation by Guru. And the third is initiation for performing Vedic sacrifices. So if you don't have bhakti, all these three are useless. And the activities instructed in Vedas are useless. The long life is useless. Vedic education and austerity is useless. All of this is useless if there is no bhakti. The elevated intelligence has no value, or bodily strength. Also, all these have no value without bhakti. Whatever ability you have, dovetail in Krishna's service. And then verse number 12 also explains that without bhakti, or without God realization, following are useless, meaning mystic yoga or analytical study of matter has no meaning. The renounced order or Vedic study has no meaning. Other austerities have no meaning because they do not help in realizing the Lord. Therefore, all these are useless. So now the obvious question becomes that what is the logic in saying all processes are useless without bhakti? And the answer is in the next two verses, 13 and 14, that Lord is the source and the goal of self-realization. Mother Jija, 13, 14 translations.
Hare Krishna. Text 13. Factually, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the original source of all self-realization. Consequently, the goal of all auspicious activities, karma, jnana, yoga, and bhakti, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 14. As pouring water on the root of a tree energizes the trunk, branches, twigs, and everything else, and as supplying food to the stomach enlivens the senses and limbs of the body, simply worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead through devotional service automatically satisfies the demigods who are parts of the Supreme Personality. Hare Krishna.
Right, so the Lord is the source of self-realization. And when He is pleased, then everybody is pleased. Just as watering the root of a tree energizes the trunk, the branches, and everything. So watering the root is better. And somebody may say, well, I would like to water the individual leaves or the individual trunks. And therefore, another analogy is given that just as you supply food to the stomach, the whole body, the senses, the limbs, all are enlivened or active and have energy. Similarly, worshipping the Lord by devotional service satisfies the demigods also. Therefore, there is no need for separate worship of demigods. Questions, comments, realizations? All right. So the discussion continues in part 3, verses 15 to 17. Title is The Supreme Lord is Worthy of All Worship. So verses 15, 16, 17 have analogies. Verse 15 describes everything is generated from the Lord and returns to the Lord, just as water is generated from sun during rainy season and evaporated by the sun during summer. And just as bodies of living entities are generated from earth and return to earth as dust. Uncle will read 15 translation and purport, faster pace.
Hare Krishna. Text 15. Translation. During the rainy season, water is generated from the sun. And in due course of time, during the summer season, the very same water is again absorbed by the sun. Similarly, all living entities moving and inert are generated from the earth, and again, after some time, they all return to the earth as dust. Similarly, everything emanates from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and in due course of time, everything enters into Him again. Text 16. Just as the sunshine is no different from the sun, the cosmic manifestation is also non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality is therefore all pervasive with the material creation. When the senses are active, they appear to be part and parcel of the body. But when the body is asleep, their activities are unmanifest. Similarly, the whole cosmic creation appears different and yet non-different from the Supreme Person. Hare Krishna.
Right, so verse number 15 described Lord is the original cause of everything with the analogy of the water coming from sun and evaporated again, and the living entities' bodies coming from earth and then merging again with earth as dust. And verse number 16 describes how Lord is all pervasive with the analogy of sunshine. That sunshine emanates from the sun, and sunshine is non-different from sun. Similarly, universe emanates from the Lord and is not different from the Lord. This way, the Lord is all pervading like the sun. Of course, Lord has its separate existence. This is Achinta Bheda Ved Tattva. Just as sun has its separate existence, the Sun Lord has its separate existence. And the senses analogy is also explained that senses appear manifest in waking state and unmanifest during sleep. But the senses are always there. Similarly, universe appears manifest at some times and sometimes unmanifest. But the Lord's energy always exists. So we have discussed this universe being manifest and unmanifest. We have discussed this in Bhagavatam 1.1.1. I had shown you a visual that on top of a house, sometimes a bird is sitting, but the bird is not permanent, built with the house. Sometimes the bird flies away. In the same way, universe is sometimes manifested and sometimes not manifested. Abhishek 16 translation purport.
Text 16. Just as sunshine is non-different from the sun, the cosmic manifestation is also non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality is therefore all pervasive within this material creation. When the senses are active, they appear to be part and parcel of the body, but when the body is asleep, their activities are unmanifest. Similarly, the whole cosmic creation appears different and yet non-different from the Supreme Person. Purport. This confirms the philosophy of Achinta Bheda Abheda Tattva, simultaneously one and different, propounded by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is simultaneously different and non-different from this cosmic manifestation. In a previous verse, it has been explained that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like the root of a tree, is the original cause of everything. It was also explained how the Supreme Personality of Godhead is all-pervasive. He is present within everything in this material manifestation. Since the energy of the Supreme Lord is non-different from him, this material cosmic manifestation is also non-different from him, although it appears different. The sunshine is not different from the sun itself, but it is simultaneously also different. One may be in the sunshine, but he is not on the sun itself. Those who live in this material world are living on the bodily rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they cannot see Him personally in the material condition. In this verse, the word Padam indicates the place where the Supreme Personality of Godhead resides. As confirmed in Ishopanishad Ishavasyam Idam Sarvam, the proprietor of a house may live in one room of the house, but the entire house belongs to him. A king may live in one room of the Buckingham Palace, but the entire palace is considered his property. It is not necessary for the king to live in every room of that palace for it to be his. He may be physically absent from the rooms, but still the entire palace is understood to be his royal domicile. The sunshine is light. The sun globe itself is light, and the sun god is also light. However, the sunshine is not identical with the sun god Vivasvan. This is the meaning of simultaneously one and different, Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. All the planets rest on the sunshine, and because of the heat of the sun, they all revolve in its orbit. On each and every planet, trees and plants grow and change colors due to sunshine. Being the rays of the sunshine is not different from sun. Similarly, all planets resting on the sunshine are not different from the sun. The entire material world is completely dependent on the sun, being produced by the sun, and the cause, the sun, is inherent in the effects. Similarly, Krishna is the cause of all causes, and the effects are permeated by the original cause. The entire cosmic manifestation should be understood as the expanded energy of the Supreme Lord. When one sleeps, the senses are inactive, but this doesn't mean the senses are absent. When one is awakened, the senses become active again. Similarly, the cosmic creation is sometimes manifest and sometimes unmanifest. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Bhutva Bhutva Praliyate. When the cosmic manifestation is dissolved, it is in a kind of sleeping condition, an inactive state. Whether the cosmic manifestation is active or inactive, the energy of the Supreme Lord is always existing. Thus, the word appearance and disappearance apply only to the cosmic manifestation.
Very good. So let's read the next verse and then we'll pause and absorb what we have discussed so far. A lot of analogies. So the next point described is, how can Lord be the cause of universe made of gunas when the Lord is beyond the gunas? This is explained in 17 verse. Kalyani, if you would like to read 17 translation in purport.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Is it chapter 17?
Canto 4, chapter 31, verse 17.
Oh. Yeah, 31. Text 70. My dear kings, sometimes in the sky there are clouds, sometimes there is darkness, and sometimes there is illumination. The appearance of all this takes place consecutively. Similarly, in the Supreme Absolute, the modes of passion, darkness, and goodness appear as consecutive energies. Sometimes they appear and sometimes they disappear. Purport also.
Yeah.
Purport. Darkness, illumination, and clouds sometimes appear and sometimes disappear, but even when they have disappeared, the potency is still there, always existing. In the sky, sometimes we see clouds, sometimes rainfall, and sometimes snow. Sometimes we see night, sometimes day, sometimes illumination, and sometimes darkness. All these exist due to the sun, but the sun is unaffected by all these changes. Similarly, although the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the original cause of the total cosmic manifestation, he is unaffected by the material existence. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 7.4. Bhumir apo nalo vayuhu kham mano buddhir evacha ahankara itiyam me bhinna prakritir ashtara. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. All together, these 8 comprise my separated material energies. Although the material or physical elements are the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are separate. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is therefore not affected by the material conditions. The Vedanta Sutra confirms Janmadi Asya Yataha. The creation, maintenance, and dissolution of this cosmic manifestation are due to the existence of the Supreme Lord. Nonetheless, the Lord is unaffected by all these changes in the material elements. This is indicated by the word pravaha, emanation. The sun always shines brilliantly and is not affected by clouds or darkness. Similarly, the Supreme Person of Godhead is always present in his spiritual energy and is not affected by the material emanations. Brahma Samhita confirms Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the Supreme Godhead. He has an eternal blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes. Although he is the supreme cause, the cause of all causes, he is still Parama, transcendental, and his form is Satchidananda, eternal, spiritual bliss. Krishna is the shelter of everything, and this is the verdict of all scripture. Krishna is the remote cause, and material nature is the immediate cause of the cosmic manifestation. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that understanding Prakriti or nature to be the cause of everything is like understanding the nipples on the neck of a goat to be the cause of milk. Material nature is the immediate cause of the cosmic manifestation, but the original cause is Narayana, Krishna. Sometimes people think that the cause of an earthen pot is the earth. We see on a potter's wheel a sufficient amount of earth to produce many pots. And although unintelligent men will say that the earth on the wheel is the cause of the pot, those who are actually advanced will find that the original cause is the potter who supplies the earth and moves the wheel. Material nature may be helping factor in the creation of this cosmic manifestation, but it is not the ultimate cause. In Bhagavad Gita 9.10, the Lord therefore says, Mayadhyaksena prakriti suyate sa characharam. This material nature is working under my direction. O son of Kunti, I am producing all moving and unmoving beings. The Supreme Lord casts his glance over material energy, and his glance agitates the three modes of nature. Creation then takes place. The conclusion is that nature is not the cause of the material manifestation. The Supreme Lord is the cause of all causes. Next.
All right, very good, thank you. So, darkness, illumination, clouds, rain, etc. all exist because of sun. But sun is unaffected by these. Similarly, Supreme Lord is the original cause of total cosmic manifestation. Lord is unaffected by material existence. The material nature is just a helping factor in creation. Although the material or physical elements are energies of the Lord, still they are separate. And therefore, Supreme Lord is not affected by material conditions. Creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation all are due to the existence of the Supreme Lord. We'll pause here for any questions, comments, realizations. We read a lot of points. And just to summarize is that devotional service to the Lord is the goal. because without bhakti, everything else is useless. Lord is the origin of everything. Lord is all pervasive, and therefore Narad Muni explained with analogies, like how the water comes from the sun and is evaporated by the sun. Living entities' bodies come from the earth and are mixed back to earth as dust. Then sunshine analogy, then the senses analogy, and then the modes that, yes, the modes also come from the Lord, but the Lord is separate as the Achinta Bhed Abhed Tattva concept, principle. Questions, comments, realizations? So because Lord is the origin of everything, therefore is part 4, verses 18 to 22. Title is Satisfy the All-Powerful Lord by Bhakti. So verse number 18 describes the qualities of the Lord and that one should engage in devotional service. Verse number 19 describes favorable qualities for worshipping the Lord, that there are 3 ways to quickly satisfy the Lord. One is show mercy on all living beings. Second is be satisfied in all conditions. Third is control your senses. By these 3 things, show mercy on all, be satisfied in all conditions, and control your senses, you can quickly satisfy the Lord. Abhishek, 18-19 translations.
Hare Krishna. Text 18. Because the Supreme Lord is the cause of all causes, He is the super soul of all individual living entities, and He exists as both the remote and the immediate cause. Since He is aloof from material emanations, He is free from their interactions and is Lord of material nature. You should therefore engage in His devotional service, thinking yourself qualitatively one with Him. 19. By showing mercy to all living entities, being satisfied somehow or other, and restricting the senses from sense enjoyment, one can very quickly satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Janardana.
So the Lord's qualities are described and therefore engage in His service, that Lord is one, the super soul of all entities. Lord is the remote and immediate cause. And Lord is the transcendental controller. He is aloof from material interactions by His spiritual energy. Therefore, engage in devotional service. And the favorable qualities of worshipping the Lord described, I already explained and I'll repeat, that by showing mercy to all living beings, being satisfied in all conditions, and controlling the senses from sense enjoyment, by these 3 ways, one can very quickly satisfy the Lord. Questions, comments, realizations?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So these 3 qualities, at least, they don't seem to be directly related to devotion. Just curious.
Why not?
Like sometimes we also hear that Lord is not so much interested in austerities and control of senses.
You are correct. Austerities is not interested, but you have to see from your angle that why does these slaughterhouses exist is because everybody is at the bodily concept of life and they don't have mercy on others. Meat eating is the reason for not having mercy on other living beings, specifically animals. So if you have mercy on all, if you recall Bhagavad Gita chapter 12, verses 13 to 20, one of the quality is being equipoised or being equal to all. By these qualities, the devotee becomes very dear to Krishna. Right? So they are devotional qualities. They are favorable for your devotional processes because it's helping you get out of your own bodily concept of life. Abhishek?
Ji, Prabhuji. So, like they are, as you mentioned, they are favorable to our devotional practice.
Yeah, you are correct. These are favorable qualities for worshipping the Lord. That's exactly what I said. Verse number 19 describes favorable qualities for worshipping the Lord, meaning there are these three ways. If you actually look at all three, they are all a bodily concept of life, meaning when you show mercy to others means you are getting out of bodily concept because you are then looking at everybody as a soul. The second says being satisfied in all conditions. Again, it's for us because most people are trying to run after money and woman. And the third is control senses, again, a bodily concept. These are all favorable conditions, favorable qualities for worshipping the Lord. Abhishek?
And like these are kind of common to any like more other spiritual processes like
You are
Gyan
correct.
Yoga and you, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Thank
you are correct. And we have discussed this in Bhagavad Gita chapter 6 that Ashtanga Yoga, there are so many qualities described specifically in the sadhana of Ashtanga Yogi from chapter 6 verses 10 to 32. And we have said that yes, these are sadhana of Ashtanga Yogi, but we can take some of those items like regulate yourself, right? That can help you in your bhakti. The same concept is here.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Shalini Gopal.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, when you were discussing these favorable qualities, what was coming to my mind is ways to quickly satisfy the Lord are these. But, to show everything is devotional service, Prabhu, like if you're, controlling senses by of having only Krishna Prasad, by controlling your mind and senses is again japa, purity of japa. Then mercy is book distribution. So I was just thinking like everything is devotional service only, Prabhu.
Yeah, so very good. You have dovetailed all your life activities in Krishna's service, and therefore for you is correct that everything is devotional service, and that's where we should aim for to come as soon as possible so that it becomes a karma. Very good.
Prabhuji, human beings are mostly emotional and merciful, but they say only merciful, but they don't realize they should be merciful to other living beings. Particularly when I say I'm a vegetarian, many people say, how do you live without meat? So this is a beautiful point which touches the mind and heart. Slaughterhouses exist because you are not merciful to other living beings.
Very good.
It is very sensible to convince people.
Yeah, very good. Very good point. Thank you for listening with rapt attention. And you are absolutely correct. That explain to others. And Prabhupada has explained this, that if you want to end slaughterhouses, let those people who want to eat meat, let them kill the animal by themselves and they will realize, oh, there is so much misery happening to the animal that we are trying to kill to eat. And people will end up not eating meat. But these slaughterhouses behind the scene, all these animals are cleaned and killed, and people don't see, they don't realize, they just get meat in the market and they eat, they don't realize. And therefore Prabhupada said, if let people kill by themselves if they are so interested in eating, and largely there may be still few left who will be merciless to go on to kill an animal and eat, but there'll be very few. Majority of the people will say, I cannot see this killing. Uncle.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Very good. Chandran Prabhu will read 20, 21, 22 translation. So verse number 20 describes the intimacy between Lord and the devotees, and 21, 22 describes the Lord's reciprocation. Chandran.
Hare Krishna. Text 20. Being completely cleansed of all material desires, the devotees are free from all mental contamination. Thus, they can always think of the Lord constantly and address Him very feelingly. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, knowing Himself to be controlled by His devotees, does not leave them for a second, just as the sky overhead never becomes invisible. Text 21. The Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes very dear to those devotees who have no material possessions but are fully happy in possessing the devotional service of the Lord. Indeed, the Lord relishes the devotional activities of such devotees. Those who are with material education, wealth, aristocracy, and fruitive activity are very proud of possessing material things, and they often deride the devotees. Even if such people offer the Lord worship, the Lord never accepts them. Text 22. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead is self-sufficient, He becomes dependent on His devotees. He does not care for the goddess of fortune, nor for the kings and demigods who are after the favors of the goddess of fortune. Where is the person who is actually grateful and will not worship the personality of Godhead? Hare Krishna.
Right, so intimacy between the Lord and His devotees is explained in verse 20, that the devotees are cleansed of all material desires. They are freed from mental contamination, and they are constantly addressing the Lord with feelings. And similarly, the Supreme Lord, who is controlled by His devotees, and the Supreme Lord never leaves His devotees. And in 21, 22, in terms of reciprocation of the Lord, is that the Lord relishes the activities of the devotees because they don't have any material possessions or material hankering. The devotees are happy in bhakti. Devotees are happy in possessing bhakti. And the Lord does not accept worship of non-devotees who are puffed up with material education, with material wealth, aristocracy, and fruitive activity. The non-devotees who often deride devotees. So just as devotees have possessiveness of the Lord and no one else, similarly the Lord has possessiveness of devotees. So the Lord's affection for the devotees is that the Lord becomes dependent on the devotees and does not even care for goddess of fortune. And therefore the verse ends that which grateful person will not worship the Lord. So let's finish last few verses. So now is part 5, verses 23 to 31 is conclusion. So Srila Narad Muni returns to Brahmaloka. The Prachetas return to Lord's abode, and Maitreya Muni concludes his conversation with Vidura. Mother Jija will read 23 to 25. Translations are straightforward.
Text 23. The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear King Vidura, Sri Narada Muni, the son of Lord Brahma, thus described all these relationships with the Supreme Personality of Godhead to the Prachetas. Afterwards, he returned to Brahmaloka. Text 24. Hearing from Narada's mouth the glories of the Lord, which vanquish all the ill fortune of the world, the Prachetas also became attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Meditating on his lotus feet, they advanced to the ultimate destination. Text 25. My dear Vidura, I have told you everything you wanted to know about the conversation between Narada and the Prachetas. The conversation describing the glories of the Lord. I have related this as far as possible. Hare Krishna.
All right. So Sukadeva Goswami now says to Parikshit Maharaj that I have explained the dynasty of Uttanapada up to now. So up to Canto 4 is Uttanapada. And now Sukadeva Goswami is going to explain about Priyavrata, and the discussion of Priyavrata will begin in Canto 5. Uncle will read 26, 27 translations are straightforward.
Hare Krishna. Text 26. Sukadeva Goswami continued, O best of kings, King Parikshit, I have now finished telling about the descendants of the first son of Swayambhu Uttanapada. I shall now try to relate the activities of the descendants of Priyavrata, the second son of Swayambhu Manu. Please hear them attentively. Text 27. Although Maharaja Priyavrata received instructions from the great sage Narada, he is still engaged in ruling the earth. After fully enjoying material possessions, he divided his property among his sons. He then attained a position by which he could return home back to Godhead. Hare Krishna.
So now Vidura thanks Maitreya Muni, and Vidura started to go to Hastinapur to deliver his brother Dhritarashtra. So important point is discussed in verse number 30. So, and we have discussed this point in Canto 1, should be chapter 13, that Vidura returned from being enlightened by Maitreya Muni. So Vidura is returned to Hastinapur in Canto 1. And that connection is right here in Canto 4, that Vidura is now starting to go to Hastinapur, that his learning from Maitreya Muni has ended. So verse number 30 describes an important point, that saintly people meet their friends and family only to share the knowledge of scriptures and self-realization. Kalyani, 28, 29, 30 translations. Faster, please.
Hare Krishna. Text 28. My dear King, in this way, after hearing the transcendental messages of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees from the great sage Maitreya, Vidura was overwhelmed with ecstasy. With tears in his eyes, he immediately fell down at the lotus feet of his Guru, his spiritual master. He then fixed the Supreme Personality of Godhead within the core of his heart. Text 29. Sri Vidura said, O great mystic, O greatest of all devotees, by your causeless mercy have been shown the path of liberation from this world of darkness. By following this path, a person liberated from the material world can return home back to Godhead. Text 30. Sukadeva Goswami continued, Vidurath has offered obeisances unto the great sage Maitreya and taking his permission started for the city of Hastinapura to see his own kinsmen, although he had no material desires. Text
30
31
purport.
also.
Yeah, 30 purport.
30 purport. Just a moment. 30 purport. When a saintly person wants to see his kinsmen, he has no material desire to see them. He simply wants to give them some instructions so that they can benefit. Vidura belonged to the royal family of the Kauravas, and although he knew that all the family members were destroyed at the battle of Kurukshetra, he nonetheless wanted to see his elder brother Dhritarashtra, to see if he could deliver Dhritarashtra from the clutches of Maya. When a great saintly person like Vidura sees his relatives, he desires only to deliver them from the clutches of Maya. Vidurath has offered his respectful obeisances to his spiritual master and departed for the city of Hastinapura, the kingdom of the Kauravas.
Right, so if you go back and refresh your memory or go back to your notes from Canto 1, you will hear this discussion that Vidura comes back to Hastinapur just to deliver Dhritarashtra, and because of Vidura's strong speech, and the result was Dhritarashtra quit home and he also attained perfection. That exact same connection is right here that we just read. So you all, devotees, you all are also saintly because you always do preaching. You always bring souls closer to Krishna through our scriptural study. So I request all of you to find at least one soul again for an upcoming new batch of our Bhagavad Gita studies. I'm very soon going to merge batch number 5 with batch number 3 and 4. They are getting very close very soon. So there will be a time slot opened up in my schedule. And the plan is that sometimes after Rath Yatra, maybe we'll leave time for Janmashtami, and maybe during September we will start a new batch. So start looking at your contacts, at your friends and family, at your colleagues, and get them ready for the new batch. And that's exactly what Vidura is also doing. You all are identical saintly devotees. Thank you. The last verse is the Phala Shruti, Gopal, 31 translation.
Hare Krishna. Text 31 translation. O King, those who hear these topics about kings who are completely surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead obtain without difficulty a long life, wealth, good reputation, good fortune, and ultimately the opportunity to return home back to Godhead. Thus, the end of Bhaktivedanta purpose of the 4th canto, 31st chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Narada Instructs the Prachitas. Hare Krishna.
Thus ends Canto number 4 also. Congratulations to all of you for your diligence in attending our classes week after week after week after week, and diligently endeavoring and completing not just for yourself but for the benefit of next batches also, because the plan is, which I have already started, that in batch number 5 they are, instead of me giving live virtual classes, they listen to past recordings of batch 3 and 4 for Canto 1 and 2. And for then batch number 3, 4, and 5 will listen to this batch recordings for Canto 3 onwards. And then the live classes are for inquiries only. So there are a few devotees already present here who attend the other batches where it's it's the live virtual classes are for inquiries only. Devotees in the other batches are very inquisitive. The whole almost 1.5 to 2 hours every week in all those batches goes for inquiries only. You should try to attend some of them. They are very inquisitive. They listen to the recordings offline by themselves and they come to classes with inquiries. Questions, comments, realizations?
And Prabhuji, this chapter, particularly the allegorical narrative of Prasidas, it makes you to inward to look at what all you are attached which you should not have. And that realization it has created, Prabhuji.
Yeah, very good. Very good listening with rapt attention and that's why you have the correct realization. Very good. Let me give you spiritual endeavor questions. You have 5 questions to answer. Question number 1. What is life based on Vedic principles? Comes from question number 1. Sorry, verse number 1. Number 2. Describe proper and improper way to approach saintly person. From verse number 7. Number 3. Briefly explain the analogies in verses 15, 16, 17. So be in brief, don't write long, be in brief. Number 4, what are the 3 ways to quickly satisfy the Lord comes from verse number 19. Number 5, explain what impels a saintly person to associate with his relatives. Comes from verse number 30. So next week, you all will do the presentations. I have it on the screen. There are 2 slots left. So not a big unit. We discussed this in the previous unit also. Both 19 and 20 are shorter units in terms of count of chapters and presentation slots. So let me know as soon as is possible. There are only 2 slots left. Now, when you look up this Google Excel on a phone, possible it may not show the whole row. Therefore, I have added this top part, the first line, that a presentation slot covers chapter 29 verses 1 to 55, and similarly.
Prabhuji, I'm sorry, I didn't receive this. Anyhow, I'll accept, I'll do this one, which is slot is free, you said, which one?
So slot number 2 and 3 are free.
Okay, I will do the 3. Third one, you mark it for Chandra auntie. And in case she is unable to present verbally, she will make the notes. I will present both.
Yeah. So I didn't send this link. It already is there with
Somehow
you.
I missed it. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't send anything. It's already been there from with you from before. I'm just pointing it to you.
Okay. Anyhow, I missed. I have been looking for it. This is on 12th we are presenting, correct?
On the next Sunday, next Saturday, which is 25th of April. You have the dates also right here. So, After the revision, you will read Canto 5, Chapter 1, but that's for later. Next week, I will anyway repeat. So, last thing I will bring up on screen is the striking points from the previous class that you all completed. You have 2 slides. Take a snapshot of slide 1. And here is slide 2. So, couple of you do not complete the striking points and inquiries. I request you to please complete. And couple of you completed the striking points just as the class started. Well, I couldn't put your points on the slide. I need time. So reschedule your schedule. That you should try to finish as soon as is possible. You don't have to wait for the manic Monday to start. You still have tomorrow, Sunday, day off, almost all of you. Try to do it quickly. The more you put it off, the difficult it becomes. Thank you all for tolerating few extra minutes. We'll stop here. Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna,
Prabhu.
Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Hare